Well, I ain't cleaning this.
The little children can use them for hockey pucks.
I want your shoes.
They'll be too small.
Benson. The guy's name was Benson.
No, that's not it.
You disappoint me. The disappointment here is you. Me. Yes.
As part of the celebration, I had a special duty. I cracked open a gourd.
Did you know Robert Guillaume almost turned down the role that made him a household name? He hated the idea of playing Benson at first, calling it servile, and wasn't shy about expressing his disdain. But here's the kicker. He took the job anyway. Why? Because he needed the money.
And I had found a way to make people laugh without being a buffoon and without being stupid or servile, seemingly idiotic. And that to me was that was cool because I could earn the money.
Yep, even legendary actors sometimes have to swallow their pride. But oh, the twists and turns his life took after that decision. Scandals, personal tragedy, and an inspiring transformation that left a legacy Hollywood can't ignore. Let's dive into the juicy details of the man behind the name. Born Robert Peter Williams on November 30th, 1927 in St. Louis, Missouri, Guillaume's early life was a real-life drama that could rival any soap opera. Growing up in a back alley apartment without plumbing or electricity, he was one of 4 children raised by his formidable grandmother after being abandoned by his alcoholic mother. Talk about a rough start. Imagine sharing an outhouse with 24 families. Yikes. His childhood was filled with challenges that shaped his resilient spirit and fueled his rebellious nature. Life wasn't kind to young Robert. He was expelled from St. Joseph's High School for being what teachers called difficult.
When I look back on my life, I realized that I knew nothing, but I had an ego that was really out of control and probably still is to some extent.
He wasn't one to follow orders blindly. After getting expelled from St. Joseph's High School, yes, expelled, Guillaume joined the United States Army in 1945 and served until 1947. But don't think he was just a soldier. He was also honing his craft in music and theater during this time. After returning from military service, he decided to chase his dreams instead of following a more conventional path. Thank goodness for that. Guillaume's career began to take off after he adopted the stage name Guillaume, believing it would give him a unique flair in a competitive industry.
My great-great-grandfather had given me the name. His name was Kunte Guillaume.
I don't think so.
Oh, no? What is the internet?
When did you change your name?
Well, when I was coming up, everybody on death row was named Robert P. Williams. So when I got ready to go into show business, I decided that I wanted a measure of distinction in order to stand out. And as it turned out, I was right.
He started performing with the Karamu Players in Cleveland before making his Broadway debut in Kwamina in 1961. He also dazzled audiences in productions like Porgy and Bess and Golden Boy. But it wasn't until he landed the role of Benson Dubois on Soap.
Oh, yeah? Well, there's a whole table up in there I'd like to help you with.
That he truly became a household name. Initially resistant to playing Benson, who was portrayed as a sharp-tongued butler, Guillaume feared it would pigeonhole him into servile roles. "I didn't want to play Benson," he admitted. "I didn't get into this business to play roles like that." But financial pressures and the opportunity to challenge the status quo led him to accept the part.
I was thinking all along, how am I going to do this? And is this the way, is this all that I have tried to stand for? Is this the way it's going to end up? I'm going to be playing the very thing I don't want to play. I never got in the business to play. Indeed, the very thing that I got in the business to eradicate if I could. But of course, there was the offer of some money that I badly needed. So I began to try to find things within the script that would allow me to do this character. I must say there was nothing in the script that revolted me. There was nothing in the script that made me think he's second class or anything.
However, after realizing that this character had depth and could be played with dignity and humor, he took the plunge.
But then the more I examined the role and read the script, I figured out a way to take some of the stench off the idea.
Benson, please get the chief of police a plate of roast beef.
Nope.
And boy, did it pay off. Guillaume wasn't content with playing a caricature. Instead, he transformed Benson into a sharp, quick-witted character who often outsmarted his wealthy employers. His performance not only won him 2 Emmy Awards, one in 1979 for Soap and another in 1985 for its spin-off Benson.
The other day I caught him going all the way with an instant killer.
But also made him an iconic figure in television history. But wait, there's more. Guillaume didn't just stop at Soap and Benson. He dazzled audiences on Broadway as Nathan Detroit in the all-black version of Guys and Dolls, earning a Tony nomination for his electrifying performance. He also made history as the first African-American to sing the title role in Andrew Lloyd Webber's The Phantom of the Opera. Talk about breaking barriers. And let's not forget about his unforgettable voice work as Rafiki in Disney's The Lion King.
I cracked open a gourd, dipped my finger inside, and made a mark on Simba's forehead.
His portrayal of this wise mandrill became legendary, adding yet another feather to his cap when he won a Grammy Award for his spoken word performance of the audiobook version of The Lion King.
Yes, the past can hurt, but the way I see it, you can either run from it.
So there you have it. Robert Guillaume went from humble beginnings to becoming one of Hollywood's most beloved figures. Now, let's talk about the messy side of Robert Guillaume's Hollywood journey. He wasn't just another actor who played by the rules. No, Robert had opinions, and he wasn't afraid to share them. You see, Hollywood has this tendency to box people in, especially black actors. But Robert, he was not here for it. I won't be reduced to a caricature, he reportedly told a writer during a heated exchange. And trust me, that boldness ruffled more than a few feathers. Producers, writers, even network executives often found themselves on the receiving end of his critiques. He'd fight tooth and nail if he thought a character was leaning too far into stereotypes, and oh, the backstage drama that caused. Some in Hollywood called him difficult, a label that's basically code for, this guy won't play along. But Robert didn't care. He had a vision for himself and for the stories he wanted to tell. Sure, it earned him a few enemies, but it also earned him respect. And let's be real, what's Hollywood without a little controversy? Let's spill some serious tea about one of the biggest scandals in Robert Guillaume's career, The Phantom of the Opera. Imagine this, the suave and talented Robert stepping into the iconic role of the Phantom, becoming the first ever black actor to lead in this traditionally white production. Groundbreaking? Absolutely. But you know how some folks can't handle change.
Phantom of the Opera, Robert Guillaume, and his Christine, Del Christian.
While many celebrated this historic moment as a much-needed shakeup in the theater world, traditionalists were clutching their pearls like it was the end of Broadway as they knew it. A black phantom? And let me tell you, Robert didn't just handle the role, he owned it. With his powerful voice and commanding presence, he brought a whole new depth to the Phantom that audiences couldn't get enough of. Critics who couldn't see past their biases questioned whether this casting would alienate audiences. Some even went as far as to suggest it was a publicity stunt. Can you imagine the audacity? But Robert, with his usual grace and charm, brushed off the haters and focused on delivering a performance for the ages. This wasn't just a role for him. It was a statement. It was proof that talent knows no color, and the stage belongs to anyone bold enough to claim it. Robert faced one of the most devastating blows a parent can endure, the loss of his son, Jacques. At just 33 years old, Jacques passed away due to complications from AIDS. The pain of losing a child is unimaginable, and for Robert, it was a wound that never truly healed. Guillaume rarely spoke about it publicly, but those who knew him said it was a devastating blow that changed him forever. In January 1999, Robert Guillaume's life took an unexpected turn when he suffered a stroke while working on the set of Sports Night.
Your instincts were wrong.
Not fitting in is how qualified people lose jobs.
Yeah, but a lot of the time, it's how they end up working here.
Guillaume was in his dressing room at Walt Disney Studios when he suddenly collapsed.
I don't know what I thought it was. I thought that if I could just get my pants on, get down to the set, everything would be all right.
With a history of high blood pressure, he had ignored the signs, thinking strokes and heart attacks were things that happened to other people. After falling and struggling to get up, crew members rushed to his aid and quickly transported him to a nearby hospital. Fortunately, the stroke was minor, resulting in only slight damage and minimal impact on his speech. After 6 weeks of hospitalization and therapy, Guillaume was able to return to Sports Night for its second season, where his character, Isaac Jaffe, was written to reflect Guillaume's own recovery from a stroke.
Isaac, you can't work full-time.
I have to.
Why?
Because they pay me to.
You had a stroke.
Is that what that was?
Yes.
I thought it was bad swordfish.
This experience not only allowed Guillaume to continue his career, but also transformed him into a spokesperson for the American Stroke Association. He used his platform to raise awareness about strokes and their effects, sharing his journey with audiences.
The stroke, it taught me humility, that you never know when something's coming down the pike to get you. But I began to look at it in the way that I've always looked at things. This, too, can be overcome.
Despite the challenges he faced post-stroke, such as a slight limp and ongoing physical therapy, Guillaume remained active in the industry.
And confronted with a stroke and the inability to move this leg or this arm, it's quite easy for me to say, help, Mayday, so it doesn't bother me.
He made guest appearances on various shows, including CSI, and continued to engage with fans and promote health awareness. Guillaume's romantic ups and downs began with his first marriage to Marlene Williams in 1955. Together, they had 2 sons, Kevin and Jacques. However, after nearly 3 decades of marriage, the couple divorced in 1984. This split reflected the pressures that fame can put on relationships, especially when one partner is chasing stardom while the other is left to manage the home front. Can you imagine the tension? It's like a real-life episode of The Real Housewives.
And now, if the father of the bride please take his place with the other guests.
After his first marriage ended, Guillaume found love again with television producer Donna Brown in 1986. They welcomed a daughter, Rachel, into their lives. But let's not gloss over the fact that Guillaume had another daughter, Patricia, born in 1950 from a different relationship. Patricia was raised by her grandparents, adding another layer of complexity to his family dynamics. Despite these challenges, Guillaume remained dedicated to his family. He often spoke about the importance of raising his children amidst Hollywood's chaos. He seemed determined to break the cycle of abandonment that marked his own upbringing. Sadly, Robert Guillaume passed away on October 24th, 2017, at age 89, due to prostate cancer.
Breaking news to get to right now. Some sad news out of Hollywood. Robert Guillaume, who won Emmy Awards for his roles on Soap and Benson, has died at the age of 89. His widow telling the Associated Press he died this morning in Los Angeles.
He'd been battling prostate cancer. He was the first African American to sing the title role of Phantom of the Opera, appearing with an all-white cast in Los Angeles.
His legacy continues through his iconic roles and contributions to television and theater. He is remembered not just for his performances, but also for breaking barriers for Black actors in Hollywood.
My success on TV has given my life, I guess, a sort of focus that it perhaps did not possess when I was doing the stage and things like that. But I guess it's given my life focus. I meet a lot of people now. I'm forced to be much more sociable than I ever was. I'm forced to be nicer than I ever thought I'd be. Done some of those things for me. I knew there might be some problems, but I think that you get any role you take, you get problems with it. I mean, of one kind or another. In this case, I mean, it's just an actor's job to deal with those problems. To the extent that you successfully deal with them, I guess, is the extent to which it could be called what you know about what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Because I thought that the role would be very popular since it had a kind of crustiness in it and a charm, a wit and humor and a certain humanity in the role and a certain truth in the role. Mm-hmm. So I mean, no actor can pass that kind of thing up, and you get to say all those terrible things to people and have them love you at the same time.
At the time of his death, Guillaume's net worth was estimated at around $1 million, a testament to a successful career spanning over 5 decades. He will always be remembered for his roles as Benson Dubois and Rafiki.
What was that? The weather. Very peculiar.
and for paving the way for future generations of actors.
Reacting to Guillaume's death, co-star Josh Charles says he radiated such warmth, light, dignity, and above all class. That smile and laugh touched us all. Guillaume described growing up in the slums of St. Louis before he began to study acting and singing. He found success on stage, earning a Tony nomination in 1977 for an all-black Broadway revival of Guys and Dolls.
So there you have it, a life filled with laughter, tears, triumphs, and tribulations. Robert Guillaume wasn't just an actor, he was a trailblazer who left an indelible mark on both television and theater history.